Previously on Dragon Ball Hakai, after the invasion of the celestial mages in search for the cocoon of the 5 great primordial beasts, the gods from Zeno's realm meet to discuss everything that happened and think about the next steps. With the mages' declaration of war made by Odisu, the great mage of the elements, now the gods and mortals of the 12 universes need to prepare for the battle to come. How do gods and mortals intend to prepare? Find out now. Hakai. Chapter 29. The Training Journey Begins. Part 1. After the meeting, the gods of Universe 6 return. Goku, Lei, and Vados have just arrived on the planet of destruction in Universe 6. Goku makes a comment about the meeting that just took place. Man, that meeting was intense. It looks like now we have a big problem to solve. In these 6 months to come, I'm going to train really hard to control and perfect my God of Destruction powers. And then I'm going to finish off that guy called Odisu and all the celestial mages. After making all these positive statements, Goku turns to Lei and asks, "And you, Miss Lei, what are you going to do now?" With an expression of someone who is not very excited, Lei responds, "After all the chaos and destruction that you and that scoundrel caused in the universe, I have a lot to do. I think I'll start with planet Earth, because the way you left that planet's ecosystem, I think Earthlings may not survive for long." When he hears this and remembers everything that happened, Goku loses some of the excitement he was showing before. He says, "It's true. After I lost control, I ended up destroying many things and taking countless lives." Lei tries to console Goku. "Oh, don't be like that, Mr. Goku. From what little I understand, it wasn't you at that moment, so there's no reason to blame yourself." However, Goku is not convinced by her words. "Thank you for the comfort, Miss Lei. However, even though I wasn't the one who did those things, it could have been avoided if I had better control of my own power. So I can't pretend I'm not to blame." Lei sighs, feeling sorry for Goku's pain, and then says, "In that case, I wish you good luck then." And she disappears from that planet. She says, "Kai." Despite everything, Goku remains determined. Turning to Vados, he says, "Miss Vados, let's start training right now. I will only stop when I have that beast under control." Vados likes his attitude and says, "That's how I like it." A few days later in Universe 11, a beam of light travels through the vacuum of space at very high speed. This beam of light only stops when it lands on a planet, where it is revealed that those who are traveling were Belmod and Margarita, the God of Destruction and the Angel of Universe 11. Belmod notices something peculiar about that place, commenting to Margarita the following: "Although it doesn't seem like it from afar, when we touch the ground on this planet, we can see that its structure is hanging by a thread." Margarita explains, "It's the fault of that energy he's emanating, which has enough power to tear this entire planet to pieces. But he's emanating this great energy at the same time as he controls it, and that's why the structure of the planet is maintained at its limit, however, intact." Belmod doesn't seem surprised and comments with a proud smile. As expected of him, the control over his monstrous power grows day by day. The person on this planet is Jiren, sitting in a meditation posture while exhaling a thin layer of energy from his body, but which seems to have enough power to shake the entire ecosystem of that planet. Already noticing the visitors and apparently not happy with their presence, Jiren asks, "What do you want here?" Belmod, already close to the Grey Warrior, says, "Since the Tournament of Power, you have increased your power even more, Jiren. That is good. However, it is insufficient given the challenges we are facing." Impatiently ignoring Belmod's first comment, Jiren repeats his question. "I'll repeat the question. What do you want here?" The God of Destruction begins to explain himself. "For all these years you denied our training and managed to evolve thanks to your talent, pride, and determination, but that alone will not be enough to deal with what we are going to face. Come with us and let us prepare you. With Margarita's help and mine, you will certainly evolve much more." Jiren refuses the offer. "I already said no. I will become stronger and take revenge on that demon on my own." But Belmod insists. "In 6 months, the Celestial Mages intend to put their plans into practice, and if Calamore went with them, it means that he intends to join the other primordial beasts and become Zarat again, thus ceasing to exist. In other words, you only have 6 months to strengthen yourself to the point where you have any chance of defeating him. You've been training on your own for decades, but there's still a long way to go. What makes you think that in the little time you have left, you will make it?" Faced with the Destroyer's arguments, Jiren finds himself unable to refute, making his defeat evident in his expression. On the planet of destruction in Universe 7, Beerus tries to fish, while an earthquake that affects the planet shakes the waters of the lake and angers the God of Destruction. "What a pain. I can't even fish properly with this idiot making all this fuss." In another part of the planet, a high amount of destruction energy is released by someone. This someone is Vegeta, who transforms into Ninja Ultra Ego has his eyes closed, focused on what he is doing. Vegeta opens his eyes, focusing on the rock standing next to him, and then he shouts, Hakai. When Vegeta points one of his hands at the stones, all of them are destroyed in an instant, creating a chain effect of explosions. After this happens, Whis approaches, praising his student. Very good, Mr. Vegeta. Your control over Hakai and this transformation is improving. Despite his master's praise, Vegeta expresses his dissatisfaction as he returns to base form. No, this improvement is significant. If I want to surpass Kakarot and also be on par with the Celestial Mages, I need much more than that. Ordinary training is not enough. I need to push my body to its extreme limits. Tell me, is there any anti-life dimension except for the one I destroyed, Whis? Whis responds and explains, No, that dimension is unique in this universe. In fact, you did some harm to the balance of the universe by destroying it. Right now, the Kaioshin must be working hard to restore it, but it will take some time. This answer makes Vegeta need to think. In that case, I need to find another way to challenge my limits. But who besides Kakarot could push me to evolve? After asking him this question, Vegeta himself finds the answer. That's right! Whis is curious when he realizes that the Saiyan has a new idea, and he also seems a little worried, as Saiyan's ideas are always unpredictable. In Universe 6, in the dimension inside Vados' staff, great destruction can be seen, giving the impression that a fierce battle took place there. Goku falls to his knees, apparently very tired from a difficult fight. However, even though he is clearly exhausted, he wants to continue and asks Vados, Okay, Miss Vados, let's continue. The angel, on the other hand, has a different idea. Wait, Lord Goku, maybe we should take a break. No way! I'm still a long way from achieving ideal control of my energy of destruction. That's true, but continuing to train mindlessly like crazy won't help much either. Considering Earth time, we've been training incessantly for 5 days, and yet your progress has been almost nil. If we continue like this, 6 months will pass and nothing will change. Goku is amazed and frustrated by his master's statements. So what should we do, Miss Vados? At first my training was so promising, but now I feel like my progress has been stalled. This is completely common. Normally a god of destruction takes centuries or even millennia to be able to properly control their energy of destruction. You have achieved the feat of greatly improving your performance even in this very short time as a deity. But given the level you have already reached, it's normal for your progression to be slower from now on. Even with Vados' statements explaining that all this is normal, Goku does not accept this situation and says, But it's precisely now that I need to progress faster than ever. Is there nothing I can do to speed up my evolution? Faced with her student's stubbornness, Vados begins a monologue to explain things better to him. Let me explain it so you understand. As I have said many times, your main source of power as a god of destruction is your energy of destruction, which is the spiritual being that has developed within you. The more control you have over this energy, the more power you will be able to use in battle, with less risk of losing control. The main goal of your training is to have better control of this energy, and that's the only thing that matters now. I already understand that part. I just need you to tell me what to do to have better control. Vados patiently explains to Goku what the problem is. The problem is that the more you advance in controlling this energy, the more difficult it is to continue advancing. In these first months of training, you were able to learn to better control your energy with simple meditation and using this power in physical training. But the mastery you achieve through these means is still superficial. And to move forward from now on, you need a much deeper contact with this energy and integrate with it body and soul. This is a process that does not just depend on effort, it requires time and coexistence with your new nature. And that's why it's useless to continue with this training we're doing. I needed these last few days to test your development and confirm this, but unfortunately, I now see that we have reached an impasse. Vados' words leaves Goku very discouraged. So you mean to say that no matter how much I train, I won't be able to advance anymore? All I can do is sit back and hope I learn to live with my own power? She responds, It's not as simple as just sitting and waiting. This is a long and complex work that requires a deep understanding of yourself and the functioning of your energy of destruction. And also, Vados pauses her explanation when she notices Goku's extreme discouragement. She then sympathizes and makes a revelation to him. But the answer is no. Sitting and waiting is not the only option you have. There is another method of advancing faster and mastering your energy of destruction. But I must warn you that success in this method is very rare, and it's very dangerous as a method. Obviously, this completely changes Goku's mood, and his hope is renewed. Is it serious? So tell me what method this is, Miss Vados. With his request, she begins to explain further. Everything I've told you so far is part of a single method of controlling your energy of destruction, which is the method of knowing the power of this energy to take it. Take? Goku is confused and at the same time curious. Vados then explains further. Yes, this method consists of you learning the nature of this energy, discovering its functioning, synchronizing your power with that of the energy through this knowledge, and thus taking part of this power to use it. But besides this method, which is the most common, there is another, making your energy of destruction give you power on its own. Goku is very surprised when she says these things. Is it really possible to do that? And how do I do it? You have to convince your energy of destruction to do this. Convince? Yes. If you can convince your energy of destruction to give you power, you don't need to waste so much time learning how it works or taking power. From the moment you achieve a relationship of complete collaboration with your energy of destruction, your powers will have a much better synchronization, and you will access your maximum potential as a god of destruction. Goku is very intrigued when he hears all this, and then he asks, "So I just ask? This seems kinda simple. Why is this method so rare?" Obviously, things are not as simple as he thinks, and Vados explains why. Asking is really simple. The difficult thing is your energy of destruction accepting it. As you may have noticed, the nature of the energy of destruction is quite voracious and perfidious. Reaching a trustworthy agreement with these beings is very difficult. I only know of 2 gods of destruction who have managed to do this to date, and they are considered the most powerful Hakaishin in history. When Vados talks about the 2 gods of destruction, images of Paikon and the god of destruction similar to Tapion come to mind, which is the same god that Kiboru mentioned on planet Chameleon as being a deserter who was never found. Vados doesn't say the names of these gods, so Goku doesn't know who they are. Not knowing who they are, he asks her, "Is Lord Beerus one of them?" No. Although Lord Beerus was very good at controlling his energy of destruction, he is part of the large group of gods who only know how to take this power instead of having a collaborative relationship with his energy. When Goku hears this, he gets very excited and asks, "So you mean if I can do this, I'll be stronger than Lord Beerus?" But Vados' answer doesn't confirm what he wants. Look, I don't know if things are that simple, because I don't even know what the Beerus maximum capacity is. But what I can say for sure is that you will be much more powerful than you are today. Now looking much more serious, Vados issues an important warning. However, it's like I said, although it seems simple in theory, this method is very unlikely and risky, and if you fail, you could end up losing control of your own conscience forever. But even with this very serious warning from the angel, Goku ignores the danger, and full of determination he announces his decision. "Miss Vados, tell me what I have to do. I'm going to try." And this is how Chapter 29 of Dragon Ball Hakai ends. But for this Dragon Ball Hakai returning special video, we're not going to show you just 1 chapter, but 2. So from now on, stay with Chapter 30 of Dragon Ball Hakai. Chapter 30, The Training Journey Begins, Part 2. In King Yema's palace, the soul of someone extremely important was about to arrive. Many souls pass through the great path that leads to the King Yema palace. Meanwhile, an ogre helps all these souls using a megaphone. "All souls stand in a single file. You there, don't start a double line. Stay in this line, please." For King Yema, it's another normal day at work, but he ends up seeing someone who surprises him a little. God of Earth, what are you doing here? Something important must have happened. The person in front of Yema is Dende, who answers his question. "It's just that an inhabitant of my planet has just left the world of the living, and he is so important that I simply couldn't help but come with him." The person Dende talks about approaches with discreet steps. Yema, when he sees this person, is very surprised. "You!" With a humble posture, the one who just arrived waves his arms and greets Yema. With a respectful smile, the great King Yema welcomes his soul. "So you finally arrived here. It's a pleasure to meet you." That soul, who just arrived, who from what is written on his clothes is called Tori, seems surprised to be known there. He asks himself, "Was I really that good of a mangaka?" King Yema responds with all possible respect, "No, you were the best." Taking a good look at his book, Yema says, "Your behavior on Earth was very good. You are a great hero to many people. Without a doubt, I will send you to heaven." But Dende warns that Tori's plans are different. "King Yema, if it's not a problem, he would like to go see King Kai." Yema didn't expect that, and asked Tori, "Would you really rather take all the risks of the Snake Way to meet King Kai instead of going straight to heaven? Are you sure about that?" Tori confirms, "Yes, I'm sure." "I see. I'll call a guide for you. Please go out there and wait." Tori hurries to follow Yema's instructions while thanking him. But it is Dende and Yema who thank him. "No, thank you," they say. Assisting Tori in front of the Snake Way, the guide says, "Just keep going forward following the snake. In the end, you will reach King Kai." Anxiously, Tori says, "Well, here I come." Tori takes an exciting leap to begin his journey on the Snake Way. The guide, who has a somewhat peculiar appearance for an ogre, thanks this good soul, who has just started his path. "Thank you, Sensei." Running at full speed, Tori exclaims, "I'm coming, King Kai." But after a few minutes, Tori didn't have that much energy anymore. And then he admits, "This is harder than I thought, but it's really fun." And this is the story of an illustrious soul who leaves the world of the living and is received with all the affection and the respect in the other world. This scene is a tribute from Dragon Ball Hakai to our great master, Akira Toriyama, creator of Dragon Ball, who unfortunately passed away recently. We on the Hakai team are very grateful to this great master, who with his wonderful works brought so much joy to our hearts. Goodbye, Akira Toriyama, and thank you very much for everything you've done for us. Back at King Yema's place, Dende says, "I'm going now, King Yema." But suddenly someone arrives at the place, to the surprise of Dende and Yema. And this person says, "God of Earth, I need to talk to you." For some reason, the presence of that person scared Dende and Yema. Who is this person? On planet Earth of Universe 7, all warriors train very hard in order to prepare for the war to come. But among everyone, the hardest workers are Gohan and Piccolo, who train intensely every day before and after Gohan goes to work. And at that moment, they do a training fight where no key attacks are allowed, and Gohan needs to fight using a form in which his power is on par with Piccolo's. Despite the fierce fight between the two, Piccolo manages to smile. He advances towards Gohan to throw a punch, which the Saiyan is preparing to deal with. Gohan dodges Piccolo's blow, and then counterattacks with a kick. With some effort, Piccolo manages to block the kick with his arms, and then praises his student. "In recent days, your combat skills have improved a lot, Gohan." He attacks with a kick, but Gohan deftly dodges the attack and manages to find an opening to land a solid elbow on his master. He then responds to the compliment with another compliment. "What can I say? I have a good master." Gohan tries to mount another attack, this time an uppercut aimed at Piccolo's chin. However, this time, Piccolo manages to dodge, grabs Gohan's wrist, and spins in the air, throwing him towards the ground. Gohan reaches the ground, barely managing to avoid crashing into the rocks, and in the next second he already needs to move to avoid being crushed by Piccolo, who only finds the rocks to crush. Piccolo doesn't intend to let Gohan have time to breathe, and so he immediately flies towards him to continue attacking. Gohan defends the first attack, and then they resume the exchange of blows, in which Gohan shows some disadvantage. Impressed by his master's performance, he comments, "You are also very strong, even more so than when we faced Moro and his men." Piccolo begins to respond, "Of course I do. I trained every day for all this time after all." A low kick comes, but Piccolo nimbly avoids it by jumping over the attack, surprising Gohan. "Unlike you Saiyans, that evolve with incredible speed." Piccolo counterattacks with an overhead kick that Gohan has to put some effort to defend. But the first attack was just a distraction for the second. A kick from below that hits Gohan hard in the chin, destabilizing him. Piccolo then completes his sentence, "I really need to try hard to get stronger." Gohan's fall seems certain. However, the Saiyan raises his head with even more determination, and it is with this determination that he shouts in response to his master, "Don't talk like I'm not trying my best!" A stronger punch hits Piccolo's block, surprising him with its strength. Piccolo is thrown against the ground, which he collides with a few times as he tries to stop his body, until he finally succeeds with some difficulty. Gohan isn't done yet, going after his opponent in a powerful low flight, ready to deliver a very powerful blow. "I got you!" But Piccolo reacts, "Don't get too full of yourself." The Namekian makes dust rise from the ground, hitting Gohan in the face, especially his eyes. "Oh no, my eyes!" Blinded by the dust, the Saiyan immediately receives a punch squarely in the abdomen while being scolded by his master. "What's wrong with you, Gohan? Since when do you need your eyes to fight?" The next attack is a full punch to the face. "Feel my ki and defend yourself." Piccolo disappears from in front of Gohan, moving at high speed to his back and preparing a finishing attack. But this time, Gohan follows his master's instructions and, sensing Piccolo's presence, manages to avoid it by the skin of his teeth. The counterattack comes almost instantly, hitting Piccolo hard and sending him skyward. However, even though he received the strong attack, Piccolo is happy. "Very good, Gohan." Gohan goes after him, taking to the skies in an ultra-fast flight, preparing a devastating punch. Piccolo, however, is still confident and shouts, "But it's still not enough." He goes against Gohan, who without hesitation throws his punch. But when the punch comes, Piccolo has already moved at great speed, leaving Gohan to hit nothing but his heavy clothing. When his fist goes through Piccolo's heavy clothing, Gohan is surprised. "What? This is very heavy!" He's even more surprised when Piccolo appears above him to land a strong elbow on the Saiyan's head that sends him hard against the ground. Looking down, Piccolo deduces that this is the end of the fight. "I think that's enough for now." Gohan is in base form, already passed out. Sometime later, peace seems to have returned to that place. Master and disciple are sitting talking talking about the fight that just happened. Understanding the tactic used by Piccolo, Gohan says, "You really are very smart, Mr. Piccolo. The moment you left your heavy clothes for me to punch, you increased the weight on purpose, didn't you? And so my reaction slowed down." Frustrated, he admits, "For some reason, I can never beat you, unless I use a transformation that gives me a power that is much greater than yours." Piccolo consoles him by saying the following: "Your fighting skills are excellent. Certainly on par with mine or even better. And not only that, you are also a little superior in general power just now, as you have evolved considerably in the last few days." However, he also makes him criticism, "But there's something missing, and that's why you couldn't beat me, even though you're stronger and have equal skill." Obviously, these statements make Gohan curious, so he asks, "What am I missing?" Piccolo explains, "Your heart is too pure. You lack malice, just like your father. You fight too straight, and even though you know your opponent might cheat, you have difficulty predicting it, because the kind of thing isn't in your thoughts. While fighting, try to think like your enemy, no matter how dirty his thoughts are, and then you'll be able to predict his tactics and trickery." Gohan welcomes this criticism and advice. Understood. Suddenly their conversation is interrupted by a voice that calls them telepathically. "Piccolo, Gohan, come to the temple, please." Gohan quickly realizes that this person is Dende. Also through telepathy, Piccolo asks, "Did something happen, Dende?" Speaking from Kami's lookout, Dende responds, "Someone arrived and asked for my permission to see you guys. It seems important, so please hurry up." After giving this warning to the two, Dende turns to look at this mysterious visitor. Looking from the back, we realize that this is someone familiar. And when that person turns around, the identity of the leader of the Celestial Mages, Pikkon, is confirmed. Meanwhile, on Universe 6's planet of destruction, Goku is in the middle of a meditation process, while being observed by Vados. He is completely focused, which makes it clear that something very important is happening. Before the meditation began, Vados gave Goku a very serious explanation regarding his training method. "I've said it before, but I'll say it again. This training is very risky, and even though I don't know everything about your previous life, I would venture to say that it is the most dangerous thing you will do in your life. The reason for this is that if you fail, you will no longer be yourself." Of course, these words worry Goku. Will I no longer be myself? What does that mean? Vados explains further. From the moment you enter this state of meditation and find your energy of destruction, you'll be facing the energy with your own consciousness. If at this moment you are subdued, you will lose dominion over it, while it will assume dominion over you. If that happens, bring you back will be almost impossible. You, Son Goku, will cease to exist, and you will only be the vessel of a beast of destruction. Vados now has an even more serious expression, and it is at this moment that she gives her main warning to Goku. "The moment that happens, I, as the angel responsible for you, will have permission to strike you down." Goku takes this warning seriously. However, he remains firm in his decision. "I understand, Miss Vados, but still I'll do it." Vados remembers these things while closely observing Goku's meditation. She looks anxious and thinks, "He's been there for many hours. What is going on in his mind?" Unlike Vados' anxiety, Goku remains extremely focused on what he is doing. In the God of Destruction's subconscious, a dark environment can be seen. Walking through the darkness is Goku himself, whose figure stands out in the midst of that dark place. As he walks, Goku looks from one side to the other, making his tension clear in his eyes. He thinks apprehensively, "The further I go into my subconscious, the darker it becomes. The atmosphere here is much heavier than it was the first time." By first time, Goku is probably referring to when he was in his subconscious during his first training as God of Destruction, when he found a large globe of energy of destruction there. Suddenly, his reflections are interrupted when a mysterious being appears from the shadows and asks him, "What's the matter? Are you afraid of your own inner self?" Goku is startled by this sudden appearance and asks, "Who's there?" The creature that has just emerged from the shadows shows its face. "Hello, Son Goku. We finally meet." Goku asks, "Who are you?" Showing a malicious smile on his face, the mysterious creature replies, "Let me introduce myself." In the next instant, a splash of blood spreads across the place. Goku, in shock, shouts, "What?" With his eyes and mouth open in fright and pain, Goku sees himself having just been stabbed by the hand of that mysterious being, which pierces his chest in a very serious wound. After this surreally fast and brutal movement, the mysterious being presents itself. "I am your new master. Your energy of destruction, Kakarot." Goku's meditation seems to proceed normally when he suddenly begins to release a large amount of power, destroying a part of the ground and causing a huge commotion in the region. His eyes suddenly open, showing a fierce look. In parallel to this, his muscles seem to swell, and his skin takes on a paler tone. Realizing what is happening, Vados starts to get worried. "Oh damn, a hideous smile forms on Goku's face. Or is it the face of Kakarot, the energy of destruction? Even with Vados' warnings, Goku was stubborn and decided to resort to a very dangerous training method. Now he has begun to suffer the consequences. Will Goku be consumed by his energy of destruction? Will Vados need to take action against him? And what does Pikkon want with Gohan and Piccolo? Find out in the next chapters of Dragon Ball Hakai. So guys, what did you think of these 2 chapters of Dragon Ball Hakai? I hope you enjoyed it, as it's great for us to come back with this story. But do not leave this video yet, because I would still like to talk to you about some things, precisely about Dragon Ball Hakai. In recent times, we have received a lot of criticism from many people regarding Dragon Ball Hakai, so I think it is important to take some time from this video to be able to respond to these criticisms. I don't judge anyone who makes these complaints, since obviously most of you don't know how the manga production process works, so it's normal for you to not understand the reasons behind many things. But you deserve some explanations, so I'm going to tell you some things now. Well, certainly one of the main criticisms we received was about producing Dragon Ball Shinken instead of Dragon Ball Hakai. Many people complained about the fact that the production of Dragon Ball Hakai chapters was stopped while many Dragon Ball Shinken episodes were produced during this time. The main reason Dragon Ball Hakai suffered this hiatus while Dragon Ball Shinken was being produced is that the same designer works on both stories. In other words, the same person who draws Dragon Ball Hakai draws Dragon Ball Shinken. Although the person who does the illustrations for these stories is a very competent and talented artist, he is not two, so obviously it was impossible for one person to do all that large amount of drawings for Dragon Ball Shinken and do Dragon Ball Hakai at the same time. So we had to choose between the 2 stories for a while. And now you must be asking yourselves, so why did you choose Dragon Ball Shinken instead of Dragon Ball Hakai? The main reason is that producing Dragon Ball Shinken is cheaper and faster than producing Dragon Ball Hakai. The illustrations in Dragon Ball Shinken have a very different style from the illustrations in Dragon Ball Hakai. While Hakai's drawings are fully finished and made with a much greater degree of detail, Shinken's drawings are basically sketch. Anyone who understands a little about illustrations knows that the time and cost of producing a sketch to a more detailed drawing is very different. A completely finished drawing takes much longer to make and costs a lot more too. While we were bringing Dragon Ball Hakai chapters regularly here on the channel, we often talked about the costs of producing this manga and that we needed help to continue. But unfortunately, the number of people who were able to collaborate with the production of the manga through our Patreon was not enough, and our goal to continue Dragon Ball Hakai regularly was not achieved. Even with difficulties, we continued to bring you the chapters, but there came a time when it became really difficult, so we needed to take a break. During this period, we started producing Dragon Ball Shinken, and this was crucial because Shinken drawings are more cost-effective and can be produced more quickly. This means that we were able to deliver videos to you more frequently and at a much lower production cost. This was very important for us to get more resources and keep the channel alive. But even during this time when Dragon Ball Hakai was on hiatus, we didn't forget the story. We planned and wrote a lot of things, and we always remain eager to return with the manga, since despite everything, we love Dragon Ball Hakai too. But now, many of you may be wondering, so what happens now? Will Dragon Ball Shinken end? The answer is no. If you who are watching now like Dragon Ball Shinken 2, you can rest assured Shinken will also continue. Those who followed the most recent Dragon Ball Shinken videos noticed that there was a change in the format of the illustrations. Now the story of Dragon Ball Shinken is being illustrated in a different way, and fewer drawings are being needed. With this new format, our illustrator will be able to do Dragon Ball Shinken and Dragon Ball Hakai at the same time. Before, this couldn't be done because we really needed to focus 100% of our efforts on Dragon Ball Shinken. But now that things have improved, it will be possible to work on both stories. Obviously, the production of Dragon Ball Hakai will not yet have the speed and frequency that we would like, and we still do not have the ideal level of resources that we need to carry out faster production. However, at least we're getting back to the story, and that is a great victory. Well, from these 2 chapters, we can see that Dragon Ball Hakai intends to not only work on Goku from now on, but also on several characters in the franchise. In Chapter 29, we saw a big focus on Vegeta and Jiren in addition to Goku, and in Chapter 30, we also saw Gohan and Piccolo receiving some prominence. In Jiren's case, I think it's already clear that he will be trained by Margarita and Belmont, probably together with Toppo and perhaps Dispo. This idea opens up incredible possibilities for Jiren, since if he managed to reach such a great level of power by training on his own, imagine how powerful this guy could become if he trained with the help of Belmont and Margarita. We saw that after starting to train with Whis, Goku and Vegeta reached completely different levels of power than they had before. The evolution they had thanks to Whis in Dragon Ball Super doesn't even compare to the evolution they had in Dragon Ball Z. If Jiren's evolution is proportional, we can expect that the power this guy will achieve will be completely monstrous. In Vegeta's case, we saw that he was very uncomfortable after feeling the great power of God of Destruction Goku and Odisu. Vegeta showed incredible evolution in the fight against Cooler, but he realized that even though he has evolved so much, his power doesn't even compare to that of Goku and the Celestial Mages, so he desperately wants to get stronger. The problem is that Vegeta realized that he won't be able to do this with common training methods. He even wanted to return to the anti-life dimension, which is where he got Ultra Ego in Dragon Ball Hakai. But as Whis explained, it will take a while for the Supreme Kai to restore that dimension. Despite this, Vegeta seems to have a good idea, but it was not revealed what that idea was, so the mystery remained in the air. In your opinion, what idea did Vegeta have? Comment, because I want to see if you get it right. Another mystery we have is about Piccolo and Gohan. As we saw in chapter 30, Pikkon has some interest in them. In fact, Pikkon had shown this interest in them since the meeting of the gods, but at that time, it had not yet become very clear. Now it has become more than clear that the leader of the Celestial Guardians has some plan that involves Gohan and Piccolo. But what could it be? Comment what you think it could be. And also, how do you believe this training journey for Gohan and Piccolo in the story of Dragon Ball Hakai could be? And of course, another mystery we have is what Goku's training journey will be like in the story. As we saw in chapter 29, Goku reached an impasse in his training, and from now on his evolution would be much slower than it was. To try to overcome this situation, Vados proposed a very dangerous training method to Goku, where he needs to convince the energy of destruction that lives within him to grant its power. The problem is that if Goku loses his consciousness to the energy of destruction, he may never regain control over his body. And if that happens, Vados may even have to finish him off. When Goku arrived in the region of his subconscious where the energy of destruction was, he realized that that part of his subconscious was completely dominated, and the energy of destruction seems to have a lot of power there. Goku's consciousness was seriously injured by the energy of destruction, and this has already had consequences in the real world, since as we can see, the energy of destruction is taking control again. Another interesting thing is that the name of this energy of destruction was finally revealed to us, which is Kakarot. Now we need to know why the name of this energy is that. Comment what you think will happen to Goku and what the energy of destruction Kakarot will do from now on. Anyway guys, Dragon Ball Hakai is opening up a wide range of possibilities for us, with our favorite characters from the franchise finally getting some prominence and probably starting their own journeys within this great saga. The future of Dragon Ball Hakai promises many things, and we are very happy that we will be able to tell this story to you again. Comment what you think will happen in the next chapters of Dragon Ball Hakai. If you haven't left a like on the video yet, do so now, because this way you help this video have more reach here on the platform. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters of Dragon Ball Hakai or the other videos on the channel. And share this video with a friend who is a fan of Dragon Ball so more people can get to know our work. Thank you very much to everyone who stayed this far. You are the true Hakaishins of the channel. Until next time, goodbye.